Hey, welcome back. Let's do Crazy Train by Randy Rhoads. So I hope you enjoy this lesson today. It is in EADGBE, standard tuning. Randy Rhoads is my favourite guitar player of all time. Just his approach to playing the guitar was so different and melodic and extremely soulful at the same time. He just had it all, I thought, and great tone. A lot of people didn't like his tone. It was sort of like a brittle, but I love that. It's like really driven Plexi sound, and it's on the brink of like destroying something. I just love it. So I hope that I can just capture all those little nuances that makes Randy's style of playing this different than everyone. It's not a high distortion gain song. You've got to really make the guitar and amp work for you, which is, I really like that. You're not just hitting the notes and palm muting or whatever. You're having to use the guitar and really dig in and hit the strings. Sort of like a Malcolm Young approach to AC/DC. You don't fiddle with the guitar. You play it. You really strum down. The very opening lick on this one, you hear it fade in, but there's a harmonic being hit, and that's on about 2.25 or something, 2.25 on the second fret. And if you can hear that there. And Randy uses that section in this song a lot. He often rakes. But that fade in at the start, it's just on the E and A strings on that same thing. And that fades in with that harmonic, and then straight away, a lot of his guitar parts he doubled left and right. He just played them both. Similar riffs left and right, they're not always identical, so a lot of his riffs just had that cool Randy Rhoads sound. So that opening section there where he rakes down after there's actually one guitar doing it, and then the other one does it as well shortly after it starts. So it's like you hear the two, but in action. Then straight into the main riff. It's in the F sharp here, and always pedaling back to that main root note. To the open there. Sometimes I hear it and he's got a little bit of harmonics in there. So that same riff just keeps repeating itself, and eventually so the way that all happens there, after I'm just playing like a power chord of D there, just those three. And when I hit the E, I'm actually just hitting the bottom, the D, G, and B strings too. Then open. So pretty simple, old school, but it all gets put together and sounds really cool. So these chords here, the first chord you're hitting and you're pedaling on the A the whole time. So this first one, it's just the bottom of a D minor. 7, 6, 5. The second chord, it is 6, 5, 4. And that same shape you play in the 4, 2, 3 position. To the open A. So there's a few ways when he enters this riff, sometimes straight after the... He doesn't just go straight into pedaling the A. Sometimes as you initiate the riff, you just bounce off the A. The intro lick there. So that intro lick, it's the same lick he does 3 times within this song. And it's pretty simple, but harmonics at the same time, but it's a 4-2-0 pull-off on the G, D, and A strings. So another thing that he does that this sort of alternates within this riff is when you get down to this A, sometimes, most of the time, he's actually just going straight to the 4th. A lot of people might think that he's bending up from the G on the 3rd, but it's actually just the 4th there on the 6th string. You can do a G on bend it if you want, there's no problem with that. There are different things that he does throughout the song that you just remember. Sometimes he just lands on that G and it's like a south. After the solo, he hits that G, but every other time I've heard on the record, it's just on the 4th there. The way that verse winds up to be the bridge section. If you could see that, after you land on that A, you go up to the A on the 12th fret. So an open A, then the 12th fret A. To the E on the 7th. Then open. So to tie that in. And that change to get to the F sharp there that I just went to, there's a few different alternates that he does to get there, but on the record it's just a slide down to the F sharp, and it's an upstroke on that F sharp, because you get those rich harmonics coming through. Later on in the song, to get to that F sharp, he just rakes down that 2.2 1/4 fret again. So this section's played a few different ways as well. So a few different ways this is done. And that's just a 2 open 2. Sometimes he goes from the open 2 to the D. Sometimes he does 2 open D. It's just how you feel. It's just mix it up to keep the song fresh, but so you could see that first time I went to that harmonic on the D and G string on the 7th fret. I don't have a whammy bar, and he didn't with his Les Paul, but if you just touch the tip of the headstock and anchor the guitar somewhere, you can... You don't need to press hard. You're not going to wreck your guitar. It's only a half a step. But there's that way of doing it. The second time, or later on in the song... So you get the idea with that one. Then the riff changes. and you get to that open D. It can be a D there, or you can play it on the D5 on a power chord. And with this, you got to hit a little bit of a pinch harmonic on this. I like it on the open D because you can... I just like the sound on the open D. I think that's what he does on the record. It sounds more like that open D pinch harmonic has a different sound to the 5th fret. Now, the chords that he comes out of that on, after that open D, it goes to the A, and then from the 4th to open, sometimes he just lands straight on that open power chord, but sometimes you can see instead of hitting the open E down here, you're just hitting the B and E string at the bottom. And that's for you to play whatever you feel. There's no right or wrong way with that. And so we're into that bridge section riff, and these are really cool. So the first time into this lick. Again at speed. So that lick there, that riff, it's a really cool one. It's my favourite riff in the whole song, I think. Just the bend up on the G on the 4th. If you can do that. Then it's a pull off on the 5th. Again, slowly. Finishes on that same A, then the descending. And every time you hit that open E and B on the bottom there. Now that riff, that's a cool one. I just go straight to the aggressive sort of vibrato bend on the 4th. And then a rake down to the... And as soon as you do that, you got to hit those natural harmonics on that 2 1/4 again. Hopefully you have that. Straight back into that verse again. Everything I've shown you so far you can put into the second verse. The only thing the second verse differs from is in that that bridge riff. Instead of going to the... we go to a slide up to the 7th. That bridge riff there, it's not hard, but it is hard if you look at the wrong part of the neck. So whenever you do these chromatic runs, I always choose one fret that I stare at. And when I do this one, it starts on the 7th on the B string. The only picking I'm doing is this. If you can do that, you have this. Each time that it just goes up and chromatically rides up the string, I'm watching the placement for my little finger. Some people might want to look at their middle finger, but I like the little finger because I can, when I stare at it, I know exactly where I've got to go for the next. That's the first note that goes next. So it's so fast and it's over in 2 seconds anyway. I don't take too much notice when I play that section. All I know is I look at my little finger and just keep working till I know where to stop, and I go back down. Okay, up on the 14th fret, while we're just talking about these different bridge licks, the last one that he does, it's, if you have that, and you just chromatically work that one up too. And that's all you get up to. Okay, so straight after those bridge riffs, the bridge licks, you get into. You can see that you got to get chunky with that, and it's a palm mute between them, so. What I hear on the actual record, he doesn't play the power chord. I hear actual open chords there. And big slide straight off that. And then he goes to the power chord just to start that solo, the D to the E. Very cool solo, a lot of stuff to learn. It just starts with a cool tapping there. If you can see that. And just take that tap up to the 15th. At that point, you go to the G on the 9th fret there and you start tapping on the 14th, but you got to bend this. Get used to bending and tapping, so you got to move your tapping finger up and down with the bending string. It's a little bit awkward to start with, but and he actually starts with it bent and or quickly bends it as soon as he starts. Lets it fall and then brings it back up. So and most of this whole solo is based around the F sharp pentatonic pattern. Get those vibratos nice and loose. Really listen to how he plays them. I know vibrato is a really hard thing to try and copy with guitar styles, but he's got a fairly decent vibrato. The lick after that is, if you can do that. So the trick with this lick here is after that hammer and pull off. If you can do that. That lick you can hear after the double pull off on the 15th to the 14th. When he bends that and actually hits the 15th with his little finger there, you have to vibrato that, well, he vibratos that 16th. And you don't pre-hit that coming back down after the bend. straight away he goes into... You work your way up to the 17th, 21st. Yeah, 17, 21. Back down to the 16, 19. And then eventually just a hammer-on pull-off on the 14th to the 17th. To come out of that bend there, if you could see me doing that, it's hard to hear on the record, but so you can see it sounds like he's just going, but when you hear the track on its own and you slow it right down, he's actually... For those who want to make sure they hit every single note on this, you know. Now this fast lick that he does going up the neck, it's really hard to hear on the album. He's doubling it both sides, and it just sounds really cool. But from what I can hear when I really slow it down is 12, 14, 16, 12, 14, 16, 11, 12, 14, 12, 14, 16, 13, 14, 16, 14, 15, 17, then a slide up to the 16, 17, 19. I'm sorry if that was a bit drawn out, but... If you can see that. Essentially the song's over. I've shown you just about every part of this, but and the final verse riff is exactly the same. I've shown you all the little changes that he does, and just finishing the song, it's sort of like that bridge section before the solo, but you don't play any of the higher power chords. And that's how the song finishes. So, look, I hope I haven't cut any corners or shown you the wrong notes here. I absolutely love this song. If there's anything wrong about it or someone knows a better way to play it, don't be shy. Just let us all know. We're a community that are just learning off each other, and that's all that matters. Someone comes to learn a lesson here, and they'll walk away learning it the right way. So, if anyone knows better, please tell. I don't use tabs to learn my songs. I just really study the audio tracks on the albums. I watch as much live footage as I can. There's not a lot of live footage to see with Randy playing this one. It's just a beautifully done song, and hopefully I've done it justice by showing you all how to play it, and I've cut no corners. So with all that being said, hope you enjoyed it. Take care, and I'll see you next time. Bye.